out time for this webinar. We'll just give a couple of minutes for people to join in. Kindly wait. Thank you. Hi, everyone. Thank you for taking out time for this. I'm hoping what is going to be an extremely invigorating chat today with our dear panelists. A warm welcome to each and every one of you. Before we begin, I'd like to quickly share about who we are for those who don't know us. We are MFA Capital Private Limited, started in 2005 by my dear friend Amar Pandit. And we really pride ourselves in being known as one of the most trusted and respected firms in the country today. Our role in our dear families' lives, our clients' lives, is to help them make smart and informed choices and decisions about money. We also have our own fintech company, Happiness Factory, which helps us to track any single Indian from across the world. Any single Indian can come there and plan their goals and invest online. We cater to 4 specific type of professions. We have top-notch doctors who are amazing people as our clients, senior CXOs, corporate executives who take decisions for their organizations, business owners who have set this up as first-generation entrepreneurs or are second or even third gen and are taking decisions in terms of the business that they run and what they're doing for their families. We also have our fair share of celebrities as clients. We also have specialized practices for families of children with special needs, because I felt that over the years, this particular segment needs specialized hand-holding and attention. And thanks to our beautiful team, we have this in place now. We are also catering to retirees because a lot of our families are seniors and they have trusted us with their principal capital to protect it and to help them in living their lifestyle the way they have always lived till as long as they're alive. We also cater to single women or women who want to be independent and take their own financial decisions. Moving on, what is the role that we play in our clients' lives? Just as you see this Sherpa here in this image, the Sherpa is someone who helps you go up and down the mountain to take you to reach the top and to get you back home safe. Similarly, he has done this 500,000 times. He goes down the same path, goes up the same route, tells you exactly where it is slippery, where you might be able to speed up, where you might just fall off, and you need to be very, very careful. And this is exactly the role that we strongly believe we play in our clients' lives. We have been through this path so many times for each of our families. And it gives us a lot of pleasure and confidence. And it's so rewarding at the end when our clients tell us that, hey, listen, what you did meant a lot to me. It changed the perspective of thinking in my life. It brought to me what all I wanted to achieve in life. That's exactly what we're doing. And as a part of this, we don't allow anything to come in between you and your goals, not even you. Moving on to our panelists for this brilliant session that we have today. Financial degrees is not financial planning. And we tried our best to get this to catch people's eyeballs, because all of us who have Zoom fatigue today and who think that, we are already attending so much, why is it that, I should be sitting at another webinar now? Let me just call the first panelist on today with us. Dear client, Mr. Krupal Kanakia. Hey, Krupal. Thank you for taking out your time for us today. If you could please unmute yourself.
Hi, everybody. Thanks, Chitra, for inviting me and having me on board on this webinar today.
Awesome. Thank you,
Krupal. I'm excited to share my views and talk to everybody. Thank you.
Super. So, as you all know, and you have read here, Krupal is a very well-respected chartered accountant, a director and a mentor at CBV Associates, part of Nexia International, representing Asia Pacific. He's a seasoned professional in taxation and transaction advisory matters, and was a partner heading the department at Chaturvedi and Shah, a leading CFO firm in Mumbai for almost 20 years. Welcome, Krupal. Thank you. I'd request Mr. Jayesh Modi also to come on the panel. Jayesh, if you could please unmute and turn on your video. Hey, Jayesh. Hi. So, the ever smiling face of Jayesh. Jayesh is our dear client for the longest period of time, and he heads inclusive banking at HSBC. He's a seasoned professional with 25 plus years of experience, with a very deep knowledge in accounts and finance. Thank you for sparing your time for us, Jayesh.
We welcome all.
And we have with us Mr. Vishwas Joshi. Vishwas, can I please have you on the screen? Hey, great. Super. Welcome, Vishwas. Vishwas is currently the CFO at International Media Acquisition Corp, US. Being a professional in finance for over 30 plus years now in predominantly corporate finance and accounts is what he's very well known in the industry for. His last stint was with UTV and Walt Disney Studios India for 13 years as the head of finance. He's really, really respected and very well known in the entire entertainment industry and media space. He has contributed to the production and distribution of over 180 Hindi, Tamil, English movies in India and abroad. Welcome, Vishwas.
Thanks, Chitra. Thanks for inviting me, and happy to speak to everyone today.
Yeah, thanks. And we also are streaming live thanks to Dr. Neeraj Bijlani. So thank you, Dr. Neeraj. Without wasting too much time, I want to quickly get us to our topic for the day. There are so many. I'm hoping that we have tried to reach across to everyone possible who may be an expert, who thinks they are an expert in finance. And we wanted to make this title sound the way it is, because those who have an education, especially a postgrad in finance, feel that they know everything that there is to know about money. So be it, usually they know laws governing money in the country, various rules and regulations, calculations regarding various taxes, succession ratios, perhaps for, their own businesses, transaction across borders, blah, blah, blah. There can be so many things. They know everything theoretically and conceptually, most importantly in their specific area of work. But in practice, do you really know how to do financial planning for yourself? So today, I have the privilege to interview our dear clients. They are absolute top-notch professionals who are at the absolute peak of their respective careers, specialities. And I'm putting them on the spot today to ask them, how important do they feel financial planning or personal, finance, financial coaching is. So coming to the three of you, the first question coming is, what do you think about our topic today? Financial degrees are not equal to financial planning. Can I request Krupal to go first?
Yeah. So good afternoon, good evening to everyone. I know a couple of you all have joined from the US, so either early morning to you too.
Yeah.
When I read this topic that Chitra sent out to me on an email and asked me if I could be on the panel, I thought it was a complete googly, a complete stunner. So it was something that it was on the face, knew about it all along, but never had come to terms with it. Is financial degree equal to financial coaching or financial planning? The answer is no, obviously. And I looked up what does this unequal sign mean? And an unequal sign means, as per the Wikipedia, as per a dictionary, cannot be compared, are not balanced. So that's what it is, when you look at this sign. Yes, the topic is something which all along we as chartered accountants knew that we are in the wrong space. If we were asked to do a financial planning for a client, because our financial degree gives us so much of varied exposure without specializing it us into anything. So when we had let me be very honest, when I did my chartered accountancy and I had inter and final two groups, two levels, and I think everyone went through the same grinding process. If you're a chartered accountant, I don't think I ever had a subject called investment banking. I don't think I had a subject called how to analyze stocks or how to learn mutual funds. So if a client of mine asks me, can you please advise on stocks? I think no. The answer is I don't know. No. So having had the financial degree, not necessarily gives me the scope or the knowledge to do financial planning. And that's what this struck me when I was looking at this topic. It was like going to a GP and saying that, can you do my heart bypass? And the answer, I think, would be no. We had this joke around yesterday when my uncle, who's had 3 heart attacks and who's had 14 stents put and who's had one bypass done, he told me at times I go to the table and I tell that surgeon, please, this is where it's spinning. This is what you need to do. This is what you need to take out. So in that manner, he's a better equipped person than a general practitioner who could do, a surgery. So yes, the topic is superb. And I think it's an eye opener for everyone that please understand you may have a good financial degree, be it an MBA, be it a chartered accountancy, be it an accountancy, be it a cost accountancy, but you can't really do a financial planning. So I think hats off to MFA team for coming up with this topic. Thank you so much, Chitra.
Thank you so much, Krupal. Thank you so much. That was wonderful. Over to you, Jayesh.
So yeah, this is a very interesting topic, and I think it touches everybody's mind and heart. The way maybe our education system is, and the way we have been brought up, we are very much focused on the theories and on what is being there in the subject. But I think the financial degree is more of that, and financial planning, I could say, is more of an implementation or more of what we face in a real life. So definitely these two are not too similar. And let's go through this and see that what are the various differences which we can make it out. And I'm sure that when we end this webinar, I think everyone who is on the call will agree that what we have gone through or what we have been going through, there are various ways through which we can do a better financial planning. Over to you, Chitra.
Thank you. Thanks, Jayesh. Over to you, Vishwas.
Yeah. So when Chitra spoke to me about this topic, it's quite interesting actually. And as Krupal mentioned, it is up in the face. And only thing is, almost every finance person realizes it, because just by knowing few terms in personal financing doesn't mean that you know the subject well. And initially, maybe people may mind to have the coach for guiding them, but eventually you have no option but to have a coach. And I always felt, what's bad in having a coach? I mean, even the tennis player like Federer, who is in the business for 15 years, he's having a coach. And why not? So you should have a coach. And just on the work of corporate work of financing vis-a-vis personal financing, always you work on the various goals for the company. You have never been working on your personal goals. And similarly, in the company, you have a lot of members available to guide you, and the stakes are different. When it comes to a personal finance, you are putting yourself at a bigger and greater risk. So from that perspective, I think knowledge through the coach, or as we agreed that there are no courses available during your chartered accountancy or any finance courses. So this is a clear cut agreed upon that, yes, we need to look at something differently. Thanks.
Thank you. Thanks, Vishwas. Actually, I think what Krupal said is so true. We always talk about how this is a subject that should be taught when you're a child. It should be taught in school. You know, we've tried to approach so many schools to tell them that this is one of the most important subjects that we need to teach people about, because as they age and become adults, and when they start earning money, they're supposed to manage money. Why is it that they should go and make all the classic mistakes, then finally realize, oh, I did this wrong and I did that wrong? And this is hard-earned money, right? Whether you earned it or your forefathers earned it. You need to know how to go about doing this. And if it was taught to you, it's great. It often happens that people just go and pick up some book and you try to find out what's personal finance. And you know, the whole concept of financial planning, it's such a beautiful process. It's a long process that involves distinct steps that we need to follow, you know. And yeah, so my next question coming to the three of you is, how did you start managing money? You know, who taught you about money? If you could please share your stories, you know, with regards to your own personal finance, anything that you would like to share as you were, you know, your whoever was involved in molding your thought process, it would be really great. Yeah, Krupal, I think you go first.
Yeah. So I would think my mom, who was kind of a Harshad Mehta fan,
Okay.
and also one of those early year housewives who, during the Harshad Mehta era, put in a lot of applications towards the public issues.
Okay.
And because there was nobody else in the family, she would use my help to fill up all the forms, to write all the checks. And then she would explain to me, and I was a teenager then. So she would explain to me that if this 100 rupee share or 10 rupee share we are going to get allotted, it will be a jackpot for us. So I remember doing one of my Mauritius trips based on the shares which were allotted during the Harshad Mehta time. We sold them and we went to Mauritius. You know, so
Awesome.
so I remember. So that was the learning. That was
Brilliant.
my
That's a fantastic association. Yeah.
So just to give you a little bit on the flip side also, she lost all the money that she had invested after the markets tanked. And after that day, she decided never to step into the market. But yes, that was my early learning into the financial market, and it was very grassroots level. It was very hardcore. So I had to go in those days, deposit checks with the IPO managers, and had to go and see in the banks, is there any enough balance? If not, then I had to ask dad for money, put it in the bank. So all these small things really taught me about money. Before that, of course, we had no knowledge and understanding. We got 1 rupee or 2 rupees to eat our vada pav in the canteen, and that's about it. So that was all the money exposure that we had, unlike our kids. But that was really the time that the seeds were sown of finance, of money,
Yeah.
to me at least. And then there were a lot of learning processes which happened during the firm education as a chartered accountant and all of that. But one thing which she taught me very early, which my father taught me very early, was in my school, they were running this club where they used to contribute 500 rupees every month, and that when during the time that I got married, my those colleagues reached out to me and said that there is a balance of 88,000 rupees in your account with
Right.
us. So that really showed me that a 500 rupee, which was of no value or significance when I was a kid, investing those kind of monies on a had yielded such a large amount. So those were the two stories that I could connect to very well during my early days of learning finances. Of course, then I became a chartered accountant, and things changed. I also was broke in 2004, but those stories are for a later time, but that is what sowed the seeds for, and the Gujarati gene that I have, it's always
Yeah.
about saving. So if you earn a rupee, you'll always save 30, 40, 25 paise, whatever you can. So these combined, it's a lethal combination.
True. Very true. Yes. Absolutely. Yeah, Jayesh?
Yeah. So for me, given that coming from a middle class family, uh, initially we used to get the pocket money, and I think a large resourcing used to come from our grandparents. Okay, where we used to get it. So the habit was to save some small amount and see where it can be used. But the major thing it started when I was in my eighth, ninth standard, and my father started his own business. And given that he was alone, he needed some assistance in managing something on his cash and finance and making bills and all that. So that's where I really got into this habit. And what I used to do is I used to have two purses, two pouch, and I used to
Ah,
keep some amount in the other pouch. And it was like a reserve, which I also don't know that why it was, but it was like a reserve. And whenever he said that, oh, but we need to make some urgent payment, then I say, oh, we have got some reserve amount, and we can do it. So I think that's something which made inculcate that there should be some buffer money which you should be there, and that's what could be one. The other was during during the starting of the job, uh, we we were being made mandatory to open accounts, a bank account with the with our tied up bank, and that's where we started getting into some small savings. But it was like it was more like an intuition. And as Krupal mentioned, that the IPO was something which everybody has gone through. So in fact, one thing which I can say is that this is the generation which has seen a Fiat car, it has seen a Bajaj scooter, it has seen all the extraordinary things, right from a telephone to a Wi-Fi. So I think we have witnessed everything. So
winding phone to this.
I know we know how we used to fill up the IPO application form. We used to get a
Yes.
physical uh, uh,
Reliance
share
Khazana.
copy
Yeah.
and all that. And today it just happens on a mobile phone. So
Right.
I think that has gone through a complete thing. And
Change.
and saving habits also, earlier we had hardly anything, and now I think we have multiple. Now there's so much that at times it becomes confusion that what should be the right thing. So I think something which is good and something is bad. So I think that's the basic journey where it started, of how the saving or what the saving could be.
Yeah, very, very nicely captured, Jayesh. Thank you. Vishwas? Now, Vishwas, you are the youngest client of MFA, right?
Yeah, Chitra, thank you so much for calling me youngest, because it's quite a big time and people have stopped calling me youngest for quite some time now. So obviously I have not heard the last part of the sentence. I just kept in my mind about the youngest. Unfortunately, if I have to go back to my understanding of money, I don't think I'll be able to hide my age, because I come from era when uh, there were only few instruments of what you call saving. A very simple fixed deposit was the leading one, and maybe the national saving certificate and some government bonds. And equity share was in the physical form, and it was quite frightening to even look at that. We were not so confident that this paper is going to give us money at some point in time. Incidentally, I come from a reasonably placed family, but I never got a hang of it. Is about what my father is earning and what is his financial status, because we used to get whatever normal kids would like to have. So first question about investment I got from him only. When he retired, he asked me, what do I do with my money now? Till then, I don't know where he was investing. I was never asked to do any banking work. So whatever I have learned, I was knowing everything. But then I have realized the first kind of an instance of an investment, because he had a complete saving of his life in his hands. And he's asking me a question, because that time I had passed out and I was about to get a job. So he thought that I'm a reasonably knowledgeable person in finance. So fortunately, I realized the importance of his money. And then I told him that you figure out a bank which gives you the least interest. So he was shocked for a moment. He said, why? I said, okay, because whatever additional 2%, 3% you may get from other banks, you may not get that, but that, please treat that as a cost of your peace of mind. And that time, even today, State Bank of India, you can blindly go and invest as a fixed deposit. I told him that you can't call me every day in the morning and saying that I have invested in bank. What is happening? I am reading this in the newspaper. I said, let's not waste our time, and it's very critical to have that money. So I started my background of investment into a fixed deposit, a conservative kind of approach. So when I started earning, I started looking around, and typically the finance folks around started giving me some few advices. Actually, that advices have taught me that I need to have someone standing next to me, because somebody just telling me that metals are growing and it's good. Eventually, I didn't realize what it means when I need to invest. Somebody would tell me that RBI is going to cut down 25 basis points. I don't know what could be that basis for my investment. Yeah. But it would have been very generic discussion. People would sound like they know about it. And a couple of investments I made on those calls, and luckily I have not lost big money, but I have learned a very, very big lesson. Saying that you are earning money, which is hard-earned money, you may get little less yield or interest, but definitely you cannot lose that money. So from there, my journey has started about looking at the money with a little different view.
Lovely. Very, very nice. Very nice sharing. Thank you, Vishwas. And thanks you, three of you, to share, how you guys came up, right from Krupal saying I didn't have any money at that time, to, each one of you all talking about your humble upbringings and where you all are today, and, in your respective positions. So I'm moving on to the next most important question for today is that what do you feel is the true value add of having a financial coach? Has this changed your life? I understand the biggest issue today, especially with people like you who cannot spare personal time. I don't know whether you are able to spare enough time for even your own health. Forget your wealth, right? So, how, with the kind of, if there is this kind of a profession in your life, has it actually freed up some of your time? Has it added to some kind of help in terms of really managing money? So, who's going first, please? Gopal?
I can go first. No issues.
Okay, Jess. Yeah.
So, Chitra, yeah, you're right. It's very easy to manage, say, others' money. But I'm not saying easy, but it's like, say, today when you are doing a job and when that responsibility is there, you are very focused, you are very systematic, you're aware that there should be an approach. But this somewhere gets lacked when it comes to your personal finance. Okay, and always it takes a back seat. Given that that's something which does not come on your priority list, and you always feel that yes, you will do it. Second, there's nobody to question you. Okay, you are going to answer your own self. Whereas when you're managing funds or managing say some business, there are people who are there to question you, and you are always there to answer them. So here it's being your own, and you go and take a view which you think could be better for your personal finance. The journey for us would have started when we would have started earning, and in my case, there were not many options which were available. Okay, and given that you don't spend time, whatever comes your way, you just go and do it. If some friend has told you that this is good, you go ahead and do it. Some bank will call you, you'll say this is something which you should definitely look at it. So it happens more in a haphazard way rather than into a systematic way, and that's, I think, the biggest challenge which I feel when we manage personal finance in our own way. Okay, it's not that people cannot manage their own money. They are quite intelligent. If they put so much hard work, I think they can. But I think the priority is not there. I think the priority lies somewhere else. Okay, and as you rightly said, if we do not get time to manage our personal life and health, finance is something which is way beyond that. So just to narrate, just to take this forward, yes, we did mistakes. When we started, we didn't had even banks didn't had options like managing the wealth or managing the portfolios and all that. It was more of a product driven, that this product is good, this product may suit your requirement, and it was a product selling which used to happen. And that's where I've gone through it. I've seen that yes, these are the things which we have been bought. And this learning came when I got in touch with MFA, where we really said, we went through the entire process of goal-based finance, which was completely different than the way it was never heard about. In fact, this was a terminology which goal-based is what, and that also, no, you are not allowed to sit. You need to also get your family, your wife along with you, and that's where you both need to come and sit, and that's where we need to know what is your goal, what's your short-term goal, medium-term goal, long-term goal. So I think this completely changed the view, and that's and I really appreciate that. Yes, I'm an old client and I stick to it, and that's one thing that you've never come across in last so many years, that you had to ever think to go back and change something. I think it's worked so well. So I think this was one transition which happened, which really is a different era and a different way, where I think rather than managing your own personal finance, how you go to a professional person and how that person then takes care of that journey in a much systematic and better way. I'll stop you.
Thanks, Jayesh. Krupal?
Yeah, I think this is a very important question, and maybe the answer may also be longer, so you'll have to bear with me on this.
Please take your time. Yeah.
But to say that what is the importance of a financial coach? A financial coach, the right financial coach is very important. And from my experience and from my journey, as I stopped at saying that I was virtually broke in 2004. That's because of the immigration status of my wife. She was a US passport holder, and she wanted to have a son who was a US passport holder. And therefore, I actually flew my entire family to the US. My son was born over there. We spent almost a few years over there. By the time I came back, I had no money. Like, I had to actually borrow money for my daily groceries. So that's the kind of time that we had between 2004 and 2005. And moving on from there, the firm which I joined was a large firm, had large clients, very large clients. I would say the multinationals of India were the clients that we were catering to. And a lot of experiences went through. So every time that I had some spare money, I was a real estate buff, and I would put that money in a 10% down payment and 90% EMI, and then my entire cycle would go into making those EMI payments. But one of my clients came up to me and said, Kripal, I'm investing with Kotak Mahindra as my wealth manager. Why don't you try them out? And at that point in time, they were accepting small money. So I went to Kotak. I'm taking names, unfortunately, but I need to give my personal experiences so that we are well versed at what we are doing. So at one point in time, Kotak was running my portfolio. A few years down the line, I shifted to Motilal Oswal because I didn't find any value addition. I think everyone was focused on returns, and I also got involved in the return game. How much return am I getting? And if I was getting anywhere which was less than 10%, I was saying that my FD is giving me more return. Why am I giving him fees also and then getting less money? So moved to Motilal Oswal, finally moved to Citibank. And then when MFA was actually reaching out to me for a partnership between a chartered accountant and a financial coach, they were not reaching out to me for making me as a client. The first proposition they told me was, you become our client, let us satisfy you, and then you can refer us to your clients. That was the whole
Right.
understanding that we came up with. And for 1 year, I was so disgusted with all of this financial coaches. So that's why I'm saying the right financial coach is very important. So for 1 year, I didn't land up meeting MFA, though Chanda was persistently following up with me. And the day I met them, I had allotted 30 minutes of my time. But the very first paper that they opened up, and they started asking me, what is your financial goal? Where do you, what are your needs that are there in the near future, short term, long term, as Jayesh bhai put it across? And and I said, these three guys have never asked me this. They always told me, what is your current portfolio? We can give you a 12% return, we can give you a 15% return. But no one asked me how much money I will need at what point in time. So I think they were not financially coaching me. They were actually using my money to give me a return and to get their fees. So I think that was the model. With y'all, the model is of a doctor and a patient relationship, that I want you to be in good health. And for that, whatever it takes, we'll work towards it. So that changed the whole perspective. I landed up in that meeting for almost 2 hours. Chanda would correct me if it could be more than 2 hours, but I know I was hard pressed for time on that day. I was wanting them to get out of my office in half an hour, but I was there with them for 2 hours. And I thought, okay, this is done. I'm over with. Maybe I'm not going to meet them ever again. They've taken down my notes. What was surprising is that they came back to tell me all the deficiencies which were there in my goal-based planning. I, being a chartered accountant and advising others how to do their planning, thought that maybe I had a little bit of a better hold on to because I was not doing random investment. I was going to financial advisors like Kotak, Citibank, or Motilal for getting a best return on my portfolio. No one told me I'm a real estate asset heavy. So all of this came across with MFA, and therefore I come back to say that the right coach is very, very important. And a financial coach, of course, if if I say that after being a chartered accountant and also after having been with MFA for last 7 years, if I think I can still run Vishwas's portfolio or Jayesh's portfolio, I would be wrong. So let me again come back to saying that financial coaching is a specialized process, it's a specialized degree, and it's a specialized experience. And it can only be done by somebody who's a financial coach. But yes, for me now, like I always tell this to my friends, I used to first have this to my friends that you need a family doctor, as in a doctor who you can reach out to even at 12 o'clock in the night, so that if and I have a skin specialist who's my family doctor. So even if there's a heart attack that is in the family, I call her first and she calls up all the other doctors and connects me and says, Krupal, your bed is arranged, your appointment is arranged, please, you're done. So that's the kind of relationship that you need to have with the doctor. You need a family lawyer. And now I tell everybody after doing up my house that you need a family interior designer, but the most important is the financial coach, a family financial coach, which you can call up. And for me, MFA is that. Chanda is that person that I can call her up in the night at 10 o'clock and ask her that, look, the markets are tanking, everybody's panicking, my mom is sweating, what do I do? And she says, don't worry, go to sleep. We talk about it after a few days. So you need a financial coach. Otherwise, and I'll give you an example. I'll name two personalities. One is a very big film director. Vishwas knows him. His father
Okay.
died. I reached out to him. I was in Canada and he called me and he said, Dad wanted to talk to you about something. He's left a note. I read that note. He said, I've got 8 crores. What should I do with it? And I left it for my son. That money, that person, I reached out to a financial advisor. He invested in a mutual fund. Uh, that was in 2004, 2005. The same time, another stockbroker reached out to me saying that I've got so much of corpus, what should I do? I gave him the same financial advisor. He said, no, I have my own proprietary book. I will manage my 10 crores on my own. That 10 crores in 2015 was 23 crores. This 8 crores of this film personality in 2015 was 50 crores without any active involvement. I think it was only a financial coach who played that role of growing that money. Of course, the times are different. It grew multiple times. I don't expect that returns now. But I'm saying this is the part that a financial coach plays. The stockbroker thought he is wise enough to do it his portfolio himself. He doubled his money, but not as much as the guy sitting on the fence and watching the other players play and enjoying the game did. So I think a financial coach is very, very important. For me, y'all have played that part, which gives me now a very peaceful sleep in the night. There are further points that I want to make, but I'm going on, and I think I need to give others an opportunity. So Vishwas, I think over to you now.
Super. Thank you, Krupal. That was absolutely rocking. Thank you. Because the way you explain this, I think, it's very important to listen to this from you rather than, me or any of my colleagues saying this. Thank you so much. Vishwas?
Yeah, Chitra. Actually, the story, what I will narrate, could be the same of Krupal or Jayesh, but I'll try, being in the media, I'll try to make a different movie out of it. So, if you recollect what I said is, I started in the era where mutual fund was not there.
Yeah.
On a lighter note, SIP had only one meaning in life. So, yeah. So with this start, we started, and only investment channels are fixed deposit and government. Gradually, as I said, people started chattering. The corridor conversations. Actually, I have realized then, however conservative I am, everyone has a gambling instinct within. So as I mentioned, the metals are doing well. Now, if you see somebody's taking that call based on this information, is nothing but a gambling. So any less information to take an important call of financing means gambling, which I have realized quite soon. Luckily, as I mentioned, I didn't lose much of a money. Then typically I started looking at a, you can say, investment consultant. I think that was the word then. Obviously, I was not having the valley size so big, so many people were not even interested to talk to me. Subsequently, I became a little reasonable for them. As Krupal mentioned, everybody in their third statement, they would talk about the interest. And by then, I have realized a gospel truth, which people say quickly, which is a market risk. Subject to market risk is someone, us, we should put it on our wall. That people quickly say and move on. So, third statement, people would say that we are much better in the market. We do better than Motilal. We are doing better than this IFL and so. So I realized being in media, I could see that it's a pitch. It's not that they are interested in me. So I continued with my own calls of typically as Motilal Oswal, tracked them for last 3 years, started investing, taking early calls. Not that I had a knowledge, but I kept a threshold where how much I can lose, and before that I need to come out. And then I was to get a substantial amount. That time I realized that I can't really gamble with that money. Because again, I will go by the same logic of RBI reducing 25 basis point, means I don't know what I have to do with that. So then I attended one of your seminar. And typically, I was okay to have a call. And when I had a call with Jyoti, your person, I was surprised that overall in the meeting, she didn't talk about the interest. The word interest was never mentioned only. And typically, Krupal will agree that whenever we appoint any consultant, we like that consultant to ask hundreds of questions before say yes to our job. So she asked me, I was about to ask her jokingly that I need to ask the question, why you are asking me the question? And everybody realized, she said, then we talk about goals. Then I talk about goals. And one question she asked me, which I did not like then. She asked me a question which was, have you made a will? So I told my wife, okay, I look old, but I don't look that old. So when I told Jyoti, we had a big laugh on that. So then she said, no, Vishwas, it's not. So next time I asked her, I told her, you know how I am. I told Jyoti, I didn't like that because you have on board. You are asking me these questions. She said, no, don't bother. You will know what I'm saying. So let's go into the conversation. And the interesting part is, first I asked, I have some investment myself I have done. Will you go back to your specialist and give me your feedback on that? I was thinking that she's saying, but we have not signed each other and why? But she said, yeah, anytime. And the amount of answers I got, it is on record. See, normally people don't give. So all my mutual funds, all my insurance policies, and I know for the fact that there I have realized that I need to be transparent. So I have shared everything. And your team, insurance expert, sent me a note, which insurance policy I should continue, which policy I should stop, why, completely. So people are ready to take accountability is what I have realized. And then the conversation started. And that time, though I was knowing it, that more than the interest or more than the yield, we need to tie our goals with expected cash flow. Because if I feel that I should have so much net worth, it may be good if I don't have enough goals to spend that. If I have too many goals, the same net worth could look very small. So we spent a lot of time on goal setting. And actually, she was telling me, she was adding so many things to me. I used to say, and there actually your point proves that in spite of being in a finance, being a CFO, doesn't matter, because this subject is not taught in any of the thing. And then, as you know, as I kept on telling Jyoti that you need to only call me when you feel stressed, because I have handed over my stress to you. If you feel you need to course correct, you have to call me. I am not going to call. And as Krupal mentioned, really, I was looking for a sound sleep because that time the valley size was increasing and the worry obviously started getting bigger. But with your team around, I feel completely secured. And at the same time, I was very happy with the commitments they made. They have not made any bigger commitments. They took me through the complete logic of what is their idea of investment into which fund, which. So in first call only, I made it clear that you may find me from the finance, but assume that I am at a ground zero. Please treat me as raw as non-finance guy. And they kept on telling me everything about what I should know. And I've realized that, I got a coach reasonably late in the time, but still it's never that late. Yeah, thanks.
Beautiful. Thank you, Vishwas. That was
Better
absolutely.
late than never, Vishwas. So,
Yeah. I guess your coach and your running partner is also online, and talking about how each one of us needs a coach, irrespective of whatever we do in life. I think this is one very, very important one, which when we talk to people, they wonder that, so what's different? आप लोग क्या नया कर देते हैं? क्या कर लेते हैं? क्या करेंगे? And then obviously we request everyone to at least go through this process. You shared so beautifully, Kripal, even what you said about the qualification about being a chartered accountant. I'm personally a cost accountant. When I met Amar, and he explained the first time he sat and said, this is the way to think about money. You have to. Products is not the first thing which is thrown into your face. This whole industry is like that. It's only focused on return, and automatically, like Vishwas mentioned, gambling, it's literally that you are sucked in, your brain is sucked towards that. And then whoever you meet, like you said, Kripal, you're constantly thinking, kitna banayega, kitna deti hai. That's the whole, route that we get sucked into. And it's only then that even I realized that, okay, it was a huge eye-opener that I need to think this way. I signed up as a client first and then I joined up, with MFA. And yes, what you mentioned, Kripal, having a financial coach, the difference, this is what a real finance professional is about versus every other kind of person out there who's trying to, you mentioned all the big brands. There are enough big brands out there, and, in the entire doctor community, in almost every single client who has been with us for 5 years plus, a decade plus, everybody repeatedly tells us, what, you guys are not a big brand. And that's why we chose you, because we feel very secure with you. We feel that our money is safe, And that brings me to what Vishwas said, that it's not highlighted. Risk is just a very fine line, bottom line of the page. Whereas at MFA, it is risk upfront first. हम लोग इतना risk बोलते हैं ना, the client wonders, तुम इतना risk क्यों बोल? I'm willing to take the risk now. Today also in the morning, I had a meeting with my colleagues Sneha and Saurabh, and we were trying to explain to the client that it's so important for you to understand what is my risk mix. Am I willing to take? I'm willing to take, but what does it entail? Nobody explains that, right? So there are some questions like Vishwas, the way you shared, how well does the person who is handling your money understand your value and your true, your experiences with money? People don't ask these kind of questions because we strongly believe that personal finance is more personal and very less of finance. Why are you investing and towards which goals? Nobody sits down to actually write it down and estimate and show you as a corpus what is needed, as Jayesh explained. Understanding risk appetite to help clients sleep well at night, to actually feel free up this whole thing off your head. Imagine if someone takes care of this for you and you feel that, oh my God, this is fully taken care of. How much of, comfort so that I'm completely sorted. to feel that is a huge feeling. So yeah, thank you so much to each of you to share this. I'm going to one-on-one questions to you all now.
Chitra, before that,
Yeah, sure.
Before that,
Yeah.
Jayesh, go ahead.
yeah, Kripal, after
No,
you.
Kripal. Yeah, you
Yeah.
said go ahead before that first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Chitra, I would want to add that I agree to Jayesh by completely on your goal-based planning. It's a unique concept, and at least I had not come across this in any of the other platforms that I had dealt with.
Hmm.
The other point was that it becomes a habit of your life. So simply,
Right.
we all start initially thinking that I need 20 crores, 50 crores, 100 crores, 1,000 crores, whatever your retirement
It's
kind
a
of
figure.
plan is. But we forget why we need this money. So that's where the goal-based breakup of that, okay, I need it for so much education, for so wedding, so I started discussing the goal-based planning with my family in an environment to understand from them that what do we need when, and that's what I went back to MFA for. But some goals of mine, it so became that my financial coach became more of a confidant of mine, which I didn't tell my wife like I want to buy a Mercedes when in 2017. But that goal I couldn't tell my wife in 2012 or 13 when I met Chanda, because then my wife for 5 years would tell me, "Ka Mercedes, I need to marry." So I had to I first informed it to Chanda that this is my goal. And now it's become known
Beautiful.
to my family in a very pleasant manner that is this a part of your goal based in MFA? पहले check कर लो. Planning a holiday, or if you're planning a world tour or something, then पहले check करो. My mom and dad is like, is it a part of your goal? So I think it's very important, the way of thought and the way of thinking that MFA has brought about. It's not just return based, it's not just amount based, it's based on why do you need that amount, and that's an eye opener. Why do you need that amount? So that's what I wanted to put across, and all this can only happen when you trust that person like your back of your hand, and when you know that that person is not there just to make money on your on your returns or on your portfolio size. So that's what MFA brings, the confidence and the trust into at least my life, and I'm sure in the other clients' lives too. I think, Jayesh, that's all I wanted to just punch on that goal
Beautiful.
planning.
Lovely.
Over to you, Jayesh.
Thank you, Kripal. Thank you.
So I remember I was being introduced by to MFA by my sister-in-law. She used to work with the
Yes.
MFA, and then once she got married, and there was some, I think I remember there was a ULIP investment which I had done, which was neither doing something great or something. So I said, "Don't worry about all this. Let me organize this." So one thing which we need to understand that, yes, along with the financial coach, the culture which I have seen in MFA, in fact, I am dealing with last almost 12, 13 years or maybe more than that. The day one and today, I think the culture has not changed. There people come, team has grown. I interact with more number of people than what I used to interact earlier. But that philosophy has remained. And the three things which I like to add over here, it's not just the investment, but it also is life, because it also tells you that if today you are earning, what should be your cover so that your family tomorrow, if something happens to, may not get into a challenge. So it looks at all the entire 360-degree. So your life and also your medical. Okay, that you should not have any of the challenge at any. It's like complete circle which has been done, which is also very important. So I think these are the aspects which we need to keep in mind. It's not just somebody may say I may give you 10 to 12% return, okay, but whether your life is adequately covered, whether you have adequately health insurance there, is your family insurance is there, because these are also important aspects of life which we somehow miss uh, if it's just a return number which we are looking at. That's it.
So true. Yeah. Anything you wish to add, Vishwas?
Yeah. Actually, I wanted to add, looking at the overall audience, because I feel today's youth, I mean, anybody who is between 25 to say 40 or even 45 or 50, those who have another 10 to 15 years of earnings left with them, they need to really take a cue from what we are talking today, because what everybody's saying on this, that you need to have a coach only to ensure that you achieve your dreams. They are not coming in your way. Nobody's going to tell you, as Krupal said, if you tell someone that I want to buy a Mercedes, nobody's going to tell you that you will not be able to buy or you can't buy. They will figure it out a way how you can reach out to your goal. That is point number one. And point number two is, if anybody wants to stop earning much earlier in life, then he should have a coach, because coach does one very important fact with the individuals. He calms down the client. So if anybody is expecting too much about the overall money, he calms. And probably the youth, when they have the whole energy, they need to get a little calm down, because they are earning good amount of money today. If they plan it properly, and if somebody wants to stop early, and the way I mentioned that if we want to sit across just on the bank of the river or on the beach and just use the word sip, then I think they should plan from now.
Brilliant. That was brilliant. So, I don't know if I did the wrong sipping chai ka thing was not the one that was in your mind at all, I feel. Why I just went a little off track. So yeah, thank you guys. That was beautiful. Before we are moving on in our webinar today. So the one-on-one questions coming to you all. Jess, of late there have been many bankers who have been requesting meetups. They have been understanding and trying to figure, what is it about? Why are we different? And despite it having, most people have their own wealth management departments, right? So how do you feel this process has changed, especially in banks? Because when I try to recruit bankers today, they really feel terrible about what they're doing. So, I just want to hear from you. What is it that you feel is happening when this kind of, there are services available out there, and when people are approached by the banks, they have the direct view of your bank account. Nobody else has.
Chitra, as I mentioned to you that one key difference, and which has come out very well in our discussion for last almost 45 minutes, is that there are a lot of institutions were ready to sell products, okay, but whether that product is suitable to you or not, that health hygiene is not done. Okay, so I think the key difference which is there is that first, let's see what is suitable for this person and then give it to that person. So it's like if a patient needs an X medicine, okay, but if my target is to give a Y medicine, whether the patient will adapt to or not, whether disease will get solved or not, nobody wants to look at it. Because it's my target and I want to give it, I will give it. I think that approach is somewhere where banks have realized it. It's not that the market has not realized it. In fact, people and that's one reason why, Chitra, your numbers are going up every day. Okay, because street realizes that yes, things are not happening properly, and that's where clienteles are moving out. But I think whether there is a complete realization till date, my answer will be no. Okay, and the other thing which is very important is that, as Kripal mentioned, that you should have a family doctor. Okay, it's also very important to have a family coach or a financial coach who can be there with for a longer time. So in fact, I jokingly tell Meena that you take my bonus share. In fact, even before my family comes, she's there. She says, oh, now it's a month of March, and where is my share which you have to invest? So I'm saying that's the approach, and that's the way it's being done so meticulously. I think that's something which is missing. I think people need to, and it's a big market. I think people can learn what you people are doing, and they can replicate it. But I think that part is missing. The entire, rather than doing product push to a product, what is actually required, I think that is something which is missing in the market, and that's where I think people are understanding it through this webinar sessions, or I think the COVID has done a lot of negatives, but one of the things which we can see is that a lot of positives in terms of a lot of awareness which people not had through this forum is getting done. So I think that's one link which was missing, which you people are able to provide very well. That's what could be my guess.
Very true, Jess. Thank you for that. Yes, it's been a huge learning because, over the last whole year, the number of webinars we've done purely in terms of financial literacy has not been funny, because we believe very strongly in this, and every single meeting with our clients, we see to it that you really understand your own money better. There is never any dearth of learning, right? There's so much out there, and if we can add even a little by little, there are some people who say, hey, I can't, it's too much of an overload. Don't do too much, just simplify it. So we work on that. The whole objective is how can we simplify this for people so that they understand it? Because otherwise our industry is full of jargon. You can throw so many words at people, you can make so many Excel sheets and show it to the person what they want to see. But who is going to be truthful to you and actually say it to your face, right? Just so
I can just add one. There are a couple of instances, but I just like to quote one. So my wife wanted to put a preschool, okay, and it was an investment. It was a big decision, moving from a job to getting into her own business.
Yeah.
Now, as Vishwas mentioned, that give the stress rather than keeping with you to MFA. So I said, this is something which I need to do it, and please tell me how it needs to be done. I think there will be very few institutions, even where you can just throw a problem and say that get me a solution. And I appreciate the way the MFA handled this entire thing by going into various options, and that also with the given time, they came that if you take option one, this goal will have to be compromised, but you can manage this. If you take option two, your goals are being managed, but you have to manage this option in this amount. So I think that degree of going through a problem, getting into various options, I think that's very much appreciated. So it's not just, as I mentioned, it's not just the return, but it's various other things which also comes at the peripheral, which also needs to be kept in mind.
Yeah, thanks for sharing on that, because I remember very clearly when she set up her place, and you were so concerned, and how beautifully it worked out for both of you. So we today we have so many of our CXOs who want to set up their own companies. They're moving into becoming entrepreneurs. Everyone wants to know that, Chitra, if I take this leap, tell me, am I doing the right thing? Today is the day to move into startups. People want to put in their, they will have to get in their own stakes. They will have to put in their monies, right? And these monies are huge. So if you're going to take a pause, you're going to take a 50% cut on your money from when you're in such a senior level as a CXO, and then you move into becoming an entrepreneur. You have to take a break in salary. You have to plan that. All of this is so important, right? We actually go into the nitty-gritties, as you mentioned, Jayesh, of working out various options to see, okay, are you 70% home with all the goals? Or, are you going to be really short? How do we tweak? What do we need to do? Where do you set the alarms going? What, there have to be red flags, because finance is huge. It affects all the aspects of well-being of a person and a family. It's not talked about enough. I've seen so many couples, my colleagues, where, we know that couples don't spend enough time talking about money, as much as they talk when they sit in front of us. So, yes, it's a huge thing that you should have that one person who will work purely in your interest and will sit and just thoroughly listen to you and give you very, very honest feedback, right? Thanks, Jayesh. I'm moving on to Krupal now. Krupal, so many people tell us that our CA is our financial planner. I have a relative who's a CA. But what I wanted to ask is, you are a practicing CA yourself and a very, very good one at that. You're a specialist. But you still have opted to have a financial coach to manage your finances. So what prompted you? Where did this come? Also, no, there is so much of misuse of a CA, I feel, that a chartered accountant is supposed to do XYZ things for us, but they get pushed into doing everything which is not their field at all. Just would like to hear your thoughts on this.
Chitra, expecting a chartered accountant to do financial planning is like expecting a GP to fix Sachin Tendulkar's tennis elbow problem. So I think they are
Yeah.
very different. You need to
Yes.
understand, does this guy have the capability to do financial planning? I'm not saying CAs don't have the capability. I'm saying CAs may have specifications that they've chosen onto. And therefore, you have to go back to your chartered accountant to understand, does he excel in financial planning and coaching on the same? And if the answer is no, obviously you're not supposed to go to him. If you ask me today, I am a tax expert doing advisory services. My own firm or my own financials are being audited by another chartered accountant, not only because of independence issues, but because I am not qualified enough to look at my own audit because I'm into tax. My GST is being done by a third chartered accountant. So, because I'm not qualified enough to handle GST, likewise, you need to understand where your chartered accountant stands, what are his specifications, his qualifications, and where he will be able to guide you and where he won't be able to guide you. But unfortunately, we all make this mistake. I remember 2004, I was heading the accounts of a large corporate, and they were launching a mobile, a mobile business. So not manufacturing, but communications across the country, and they poached the CEO of Bharti, and they got him to Mumbai. He came without his family. They put him in a bungalow in Juhu. And because I lived in Juhu, they told me that why don't you take care of his accounts, do his accounts and all of that, and file his tax returns. And I was a specialist in that, so I accepted that assignment. This gentleman would call me every Saturday or Sunday because he had no time to look at his own things. So once in a month, he would call me on a Saturday or on a Sunday. I would take an auto and go to his house, and I would sit in his house, in his sprawling bungalow, and we would sit all day looking into his accounts. And then he would tell me that I'm getting 50 lakh rupees as pay every month. I don't know what to do with it. Where should I invest? And I said, I'm coming in an auto, man. I have no money of my own. I have no experience of investment. I can only file the tax returns. So it was a dichotomy that I was stuck in, that I couldn't tell him that, sir, I don't know this. I'm not the right person, because I didn't want to lose his accounting and his tax job.
Right.
At the same time, I knew I was not qualified for it. So expecting a chartered accountant to come up with an answer, and to be very honest to you, I pulled that off for 2 years by going to somebody who was an expert, taking his advice, and then simply, like a parrot, तोता बन के
Paying it
उसको
back
बता
to
दिया
him.
कि सर ये करो आप, at the end of the, but after 2 years I gave up. I said, sir, I'm not qualified. I have been taking advice from this person. Please talk to him. It took time for him to go over to that person, because the trust, as I said, is very important.
Yeah.
How to build that trust is very important. But chartered accountants are experts in their own field. We need to identify that. We won't go with a sore ankle or a knee fracture to a Dr. Bhattacharya. We'll go to him for a heart. And likewise, we go to a financial coach for our financial planning. We go to a chartered accountant who does taxes for our tax. who does audit for an audit, and that needs to be clearly be understood. So if you have to add one more person in your life as a financial coach, so be it. But I think that's a lesson that everyone needs to understand and move ahead with. Those days are over when a CA could do everything. Now there's so much dynamics in the market. The CA can only do what he's specialized for. Even his own financial planning is done by somebody else. Let's be very honest about it, right?
Yeah, we have so many chartered accountants as our clients, right, Krupal? And what you say is so absolutely apt, because I can see whenever I meet a chartered accountant, they're inundated from morning to night. They don't have time to breathe. And then you're expecting them to, be the true professional here and then hold them to task. Krupal, what you mentioned about the team, we always tell every family that you need a 3-member team. You need your chartered accountant who you hold as your family member. You need a lawyer. You need a legal person to take care of the legal aspects of your life. Third important person is us, your financial coach. You need someone who is outside of the family and looks at your 360-degree view of anything to do with money. Any single decision about money, we are there for you to just ask. Like Vishwas said earlier, throw any question at us, but throw it, because we're there to catch it and tell you, "Aapne ye kiya to ye hoga, ye kiya to wo hoga." But you need to know, because otherwise, I always tell there's so much, but you may know only so much. What about the rest of it that you're missing? You should not miss out that. And it's really sad that people take chartered accountants for a ride, I think. And what happens is chartered accountants also start getting into this because they feel that, abhi ye log पूछ ही रहे हैं तो मैं कोई product दे देता हूँ. And then involuntarily they get into this. And then this becomes like kind of a path for them. So it becomes very, very difficult in the end for everyone. Yeah. I'll move on to you, Vishwas. The question coming to you is, again, being a top kick-ass CFO, CFOs, whenever we approach them, we talk to them, they tend to say that, listen, I know everything. Here, this is the brigade that says I do everything myself, which is sab pata hai. So, because they're so used to taking the decisions for their own company, they're doing this in and out they're reporting to the top boss, they're sitting on the board of directors, they know how exactly to do everything for their organizations. But what we classically see is that they lose out a lot by not taking professional help for themselves, by not taking out time for this. So can you please share what is the CFO mindset?
Okay, so first part, what you said that CFO says that I know everything. That is part of their job. So please pardon them for saying this. You may take with whatever pinch of salt you want to take. So first of all, that's the case. Second thing, just understand the CFO's role in the company. Let's spend a couple of seconds on this. So CFO is an overall head of finance, accounts, treasury, strategy, maybe IT, maybe administration and whatnot. So actually we jokingly used to say that if there is no head available in the company, it is always attached to the CFO. Now the best part is you get your assistant as a specialized person under every vertical. So if there is a corporate accounts, a gentleman who is specialized in this is given to you as your assistant. So what CFO has to do overall, pardon me saying that he needs to keep showing to the world that I know everything. Second, he needs to know so much that he should be able to answer the question which is coming from non-finance people. A business head, if he asks about the tax, he should be geared enough to give him the answer. If a tax consultant asks, he has to call his tax guy. Having said this, you can see clearly that the personal wealth management is not the vertical given to him with a specialist.
True.
And there are few CFOs who may think that they can do themselves the personal finance. And you were talking about the Excel sheet. I always give the example of Excel sheet. Excel is such a the system, you feel you are in control. Before you make a mistake, you always feel I am in control.
Yeah.
That kind of a thing happens to the CFO.
True.
And by a wise CFO actually should get his personal coach quickly, because he would have faced a lot of situation where one of his assistant who has not delivered on time or not capable enough, what kind of a catastrophe he would have gone through. So he is aware that what could go wrong on personal finances if he doesn't give a proper attention to that. Sorry, before moving on to, I have one question to you, Chitra, on a lighter note. Jayesh bhai mentioned that your numbers are growing. Since I'm dealing now, if in going forward, if you go public, will we get a preferential allotment?
Super one. I will try to factor that in for sure. Thank you, Vishwas. Vishwas, as you mentioned about CFOs, as you rightly said, that it is their job to know. In fact, very often when we meet business owners, they put their CFOs in front. They say they know everything. And then I feel so sad for them, because the CFO is actually taking care of the entire business part of finance and accounts. And then he's supposed to take care of the personal finance of the business owner and his entire family, which could run into 18 tax files, 18 P&L, balance sheets, HUF, so many entities, so many such, multiple businesses, personalized balance sheets and tax returns. And then he's supposed to also know how to take care of the personal money, which he doesn't know. We are the ones who are able to actually bifurcate and go back to a business owner and tell him that, okay, this is the way you have to actually prepare your own personal balance sheet. That's not the chartered accountant or the CFO who would know how to go about doing this. So thank you, three of you, to have spared your time on sharing about this. I wanted to move on to one very important aspect, that we strongly believe that families, everybody else, the whoever is the decision maker and plus family members need to be involved in the understanding of the entire financial planning process. So can you all please share that at what phase are you all in? Because we repeatedly keep pushing. In fact, more than often, the men who are our clients push and request and insist that, please, will you spend time with my woman or with whoever else to explain to them, simplify it and share. And we have a fantastic process that we spend time with the spouse to actually break it down. We run a program for women, which is done, we used to regularly do it quarterly when we were meeting physically, and our women used to thoroughly appreciate it, that we could understand what is happening. So, I mean, three of you men, if you all could please share, how much does your spouse understand what you have done regarding monies?
So I'll go first. So I still remember. So there are two different examples which I like to give. One of my father-in-law, who in fact we lost him when he was in his 50s, late 40s and early 50s. But one thing which he did, and I think that point of time there were no financial planner or concept would have been there, but he thoroughly, he was systematic guy. He thoroughly recorded everything. In fact, he has planned till date. In fact, we have lost him almost 20 years before, but till date, my mother-in-law had never had a challenge to go to any of the daughters or son to ask for money. So that's the systematic way he managed. The other extreme is in case of my father who didn't get into any financial planning, and he left everything to kids to manage. So and today the kids have to are managing the entire financial things of parents. So these are two different things which happens, two extremes. So it all depends upon which one. But that's the learning which has been implemented, that at least in my case, at least that's not something which is the case. And more than if I want or don't want, you people don't allow us to do financial planning when we come alone. In fact, you tell us to go back to home and get a spouse with us. Okay. So I think that discipline which you people are following, I think at times you feel that what is this? But I think that's truly a concept which I think should be there, so that tomorrow, God forbid, something happens, at least even if your spouse has not understood what it is, but at least they know that, oh, if I call MFA, they will have all the records and they will be able to tell me that what's where. At least that is
Who to
something which is
reach out
very,
to.
very important. They know
Absolutely.
whom to reach out to in something happens to. I think, and as Paul mentioned, if you think something, then the first question comes, oh, but has Meena sanctioned it? So
Yeah.
Meena is my financial advisor, and
Yeah.
so as she approved it, is she okay with it? Okay, so I think that's the trust, and that's what you hold place in our family.
Thank you so much, Jess. Beautifully said. You guys want to add something here?
Yeah. So for me, because I live in a joint family with my parents, from the very beginning, being a chartered accountant, there was this need to plan in advance that what is going to be our income and what is going to be our expenditure for that year. So from 2008-9 onwards, we've been doing this, and we sit in the beginning of the year. 1st April is the start of the year. 31st March. They realized that only after I got involved in their lives and made it a mess for them. Otherwise, for them, Diwali was the new year. Now they know it's 1st April is a new year. So, so we sit on the first Sunday of April, and we sit down, and I typically have records of who spent what and how much have we spent. So I make it embarrassing for everybody that this is the amount that you have spent during the entire of the last year. And are you
Wow.
going to land up spending the same, or are you going to need more money? So we know as to what should be our sources of income, and we know what is our expense. So that has been typically a planning mechanism which we follow even till date. So they've got used to it after a few years of ignoring me on those weekends and running away, to the Namlas and all. They realize that there's no running away from this. So they are used to it now. But when MFA gave us this goal-based planning, it became more as an extended part of that. And I am discussing that also with my family. Though because of paucity of time, I don't have my wife or my mom or my dad come to these meetings, but I at least land up discussing with them everything that I do. So much so that on a weekly basis, because I've got earlier, I used to tell Chanda to have something similar like a money control for MFA, which you all have got now in the last few years. But earlier, me and my mom, she's the investment buff. She's a Warren Buffett of the family. So we sit together on weekends, and then she tells me, what is the value of your portfolio? And I tell her, this is the value. And I remember in March of last year, she said, देखो जो मेरे साथ हर्षद मेहता के टाइम पे वो आपके साथ अभी हुआ कोविड के टाइम पे, so you lost all your money. So, and she said, I'm getting palpitations. I said, don't worry, mom. We have planned our goals properly. So my son's education, somebody's wedding, all of that will happen. This is surplus for my retirement. Maybe there's a dip in that. We'll deal with it. But I'm just saying that they are completely involved. They know everything. And as I tell you that our goal base has now started getting expanded. So if my mom has now my sister's kids are also, their education is also a part of our goal base now. So
Right.
everything
Yeah.
that she wants to do, she wants to travel, it becomes a goal base. Okay, I want to go to Alaska in this year. I want to go to Antarctica in this year. She's saying, let's plan for it. So I think they're completely involved, and I like that about family, not having to have any not having to have any opaqueness in the family. It's best to be transparent.
Brilliant.
And whatever y'all tell me, I in turn relate it out to them, So at times I don't understand some things, like a will for myself or a will for my family, it was not something that I understood very well. I thought I was too young maybe to have a will, but when Chanda reached out to me, I spoke to my parents. My parents said, "You first, we have a will, then you have a will. Let's start implementing it." So I think they're completely involved, and I think that's how the family grows together, because they understand and connect with each other over financial matters.
Brilliant, Krupal. In fact, I wanted to add something here is that when you have such conversations, your children are also listening. The youngsters are following and values flow through there. Because otherwise, what a child is supposed to just listen to or look at a parent or look. And today there is so much of information, free information from Google or from media and WhatsApp that they're so easily influenced. How are they supposed to know what is right and wrong? So this is superb what you're doing. Apart from also taking back whatever is happening at your discussions at with at the ideally at the annual just catch up with entire what are the goals and revisiting entirely what has been done, because goals are so dynamic. We keep changing, financial situations keep changing, we don't know what hits us when, and it is so in sync with how we are, and it is of primary importance. Sorry, over to you, Vishwas.
Yeah, actually, what I'm going to speak, actually, I'm taking a risk not from the home, but you guys may laugh, but it's a true story which I'm going to tell you. First of all, my wife believes exactly the same opinion, Chitra, you have, that CFOs doesn't know personal finances. So she is clear that I know nothing. That is the first thing. Second thing, in our family, normally, we have a term called karta in the family. We have a different, right, from my mother to grandmother to my wife, everyone, the women take the decisions in our family. That's, and the last is, whatever I get a knowledge from Jyoti or you, after talking to you for say 45 minutes and maybe in 1 hour, she gets it in 10 minutes, because I speak so loudly with on the call. So she gets it in 10 minutes, and anyway, she needs to take a decision only. So I need to give her all the information, and she takes the decision. So actually, she's more involved in this.
Brilliant.
Behind me, I'm the face, and only because I like to talk, I'm there. But otherwise, and the risk now, after the call, she is going to come to me saying that this is a secret you are not asked to open every time on the open forum. But I mean, and the last but not the least, when she realized that MFA is driven by, at least my account is driven by 2 women, she felt very secure.
Oh yes, we are majority women only.
Vishwas,
Thankfully,
pocket money is at risk now for you.
Vishwas, you heard that? Krupal said pocket money itself is at risk for me.
No, because I'm not a spender anyway. So, I mean,
Chalega.
anything is due.
You guys are brilliant. So I'm sorry I've taken too much of your time, and we are coming to the last max two questions, and I would like to please share that what are your parting thoughts to listeners about what they should do. People typically they think they're listening to you and they're wondering what should they do. So along with this, if you could merge and say that if you had us in your lives earlier, would it have changed your life? If you could please just quickly share. I don't want to. Yeah, Jayesh, you want to go?
Yeah, Krupal, go after you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So very quickly, one is start early for the youngsters over here. I would want to say that start early. I have a junior chartered accountant in my office who's with me now from last 20 years, not very brilliant, has had a steady growth. But I know from the day that he joined the job, he has been putting in 5,000, 7,000, 10,000. He made it a habit to put that money aside in a mutual fund, in a stock, whatever his planning was. So when he came back 4 years ago and said that I'm buying a house in Oberoi for 5 crores, everyone in the office was stunned. Like, why, how is he doing it, But realized that he started very early, he started 20 years ago. Today, he's got enough corpus to put in a down payment, and he has got enough, to take a small loan and do that. So starting early, I think the power of compounding is something that we never can imagine how much it will, work in favor. It's superb. So start early is the first thing that I would want to say. Review your portfolio on a bi-yearly basis or yearly basis, whichever is that mechanism. At times, your risks versus the risk which people want to take are different, which your advisors want you to take may be different. So please review your portfolio, get involved. Like for me, I didn't get involved until 2020. Let me be honest about it. I was leaving for you all to do it, but I have seen a change in the way I look at things completely after the pandemic. So because I got the time on hand, I had a severance where I got a good bonus. Then I decided to deploy that into these portfolios. So reviewing if it just not leaving it with, of course, the financial coach has to decide what has to be done. So finally, even if I want to take a call, I go to Chanda and say, Chanda, should we sell this? I want to reduce my portfolio by so much amount. What should we do? And she would say no, and I would say, okay, the answer is no. So reviewing is very important. Being involved is very important. And lastly, what I have been informed by a very famous astrologer, that doing some kind of a recurring deposit puts a lot of positive energy in your life. I met him a few years back. He said, 1,000 रुपए का भी SIP चालू कर दो आपके parents के लिए. I said, why? He said, because that's some positivity in your life. You're continuously investing. It's going into. I was amazed at that discussion.
Wow.
And he wanted to show it to me, prove it to me scientifically. I didn't reach there, but I thought, an astrologer could also say that there is, if the dashas are bad, it will take away all the negativity if you put if you do something which is recurring in nature, like investing money in a recurring deposit. So small things, I know it may not
but
make a
that's
lot
very,
of
very, very, very different insight.
Yeah, but these are the thoughts which I have for being in sync with the financial coach. And there will be palpitations, there will be panic. My portfolio was 1/3 of its size in March of 2020. Today it's twice of what it was before March of 2020. I'm just saying that be constantly invested in the market. If you are going to be my celebrity client, you'll have 5 times the money. If you're going to be the stockbroker client, you're going to lose money. Yeah, by taking decisions randomly on your own. Let your financial coach take all the decisions. You can only give them a thought that this is what I want to do. This is what I feel is appropriate. Let them guide you. So I remember every time that there is a panic, even if there's a 1,000 point sale or a 2,000 point sale, I quickly get a message from MFA to say that the whole world is going through some kind of a correction, but it is only temporary. Don't worry. Are you a short term 10%, 20%, or which is the next 3x? These kind of quotes make you feel okay. I should not worry about half x right now. Let's look at 3x. So usually settle down. I'm just saying these are my parting thoughts with what we've heard today from everybody. Thank you.
Lovely. Yeah, Vishwas? Vishwas, you would like to share?
I'll just take not more time. Again, for the young people, I would say do not stop dreaming big, in the sense that please dream big in terms of spends, but have your coach on your side and give each other a time, because normally in this world you tend to compare with others and you get digressed. So I'll end with, normally there is a saying called grass is always greener on the other side. I heard a very interesting quote based on that. Grass is greener on those people's side who waters them personally. So instead of looking everywhere, look at your own grass and make it green. Thanks.
Beautiful, beautiful. Lovely. I just want to share what Dr. Vishwanathan has been typing in on the chat from the US. He's saying to my last question, answering Chitra's question, now my wealth would have been at least 4 to 8 times more if MFA was managing my funds in 2004, 2008. Thank you, Dr. Vishwanathan, for all your messages. I want to take just 5 minutes max more, where I'm going to ask you all two benefits of having a real financial coach in life. One, the financial one, an emotional one. What would you say? Yeah, Jace.
Yeah, so I think both. I think MFA meets both the financial and emotional. And during our examples, we have given couple of ones where not only financial, but how when we need someone at some point of time, it has been really helpful. So I think it meets both.
Okay.
Yeah, I
Specific
agree.
words that you want to just say is what I meant.
Fin emotional. I think I'm just copying Nikhil's one. Fin emotional.
Fin emotional. Okay. Fine motion. Fin emotional. Okay,
Fin
Nikhil.
emotional.
Thanks for that. Yeah. Krupal?
Yeah, so financially, MFA does give me a very sound sleep. And that's what I would repeat again, which I said earlier, that it does help me. Just sorry, some printing's going on behind. So it does help me to relax and sleep soundly. Emotionally, we all have dreams, you know, for our emotions, and MFA helps me to achieve those dreams. At the end of the day, we are the ones we work towards, putting those monies into our account, but how best to manage them, how best to grow them, and to utilize it for the purposes for which we earn money is what MFA has actually given that direction. So emotionally, I think that's very important from my perspective. So thank you to
Thanks,
you and your
Krupal.
team for doing that for us.
Thank you, Krupal. Yeah, Vishwa.
Yeah, same what Krupal said, that I am not worried about my finances. Only after seeing that MFA is more worried than me, so they are monitoring more closely than me. And emotional, I was not ready to share, but now you have pushed me to share this. So as you are aware, Chitra, I was part of the very important success story yesterday. And after sharing with my relatives, immediately I shared with you and Jyoti, and on a conversation, Jyoti said, okay, Vishwas, I will have ice cream on your behalf. So I said, okay, Jyoti, then please have it the chocolate ice cream. So yeah, there is a chocolate in my fridge, I'll enjoy. I said, oh God, I am missing it. And in 30 minutes, I got a Naturals choco chips. Imagine what was that moment. I think this is the emotional and you have seen it. So I was not to share, but you have asked, you have used the word emotional, so I couldn't stop. Thanks for the ice cream too.
Most welcome. Thank you, everyone. Thanks, three of you. And yes, the purpose is we are in pursuit of your happiness. The entire team is focused completely in pursuit of the happiness for our clients. Each one of this adds up. Managing finance is one of the big things that controls and contributes to happiness in our lives. And we're very, very happy and glad that we're able to do that for you. And we have processes in place by which, as you shared, the team may expand, but we are managing to continue and keep the process intact so that we're able to cater to every single family that we sign up. And I am going to quickly run a poll because this is amazing that at the end of the seminar, we have 56 participants still here. And I would request each one of you all to please give us your feedback on this. And it genuinely helps us. It helps me and my team in taking decisions on what is the kind of content that people would like to listen to, what would they like to learn more, right? So requesting everyone to kindly share your thoughts.
Chitra is saying host and panelists cannot vote. Otherwise, I'll have written fix a meeting with me.
Just आपके लिए कभी भी meeting on है. By the way, we have to do that one. आपका pending है. Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'll just take another minute and close this. Yeah, requesting all the participants to kindly vote a little quickly so that I have another question to ask. Thanks, Kaustubh. Thanks for attending. Thanks, Nikhil. Thanks, Rajshri, Gaurav. Thanks, Mr. Vishwanathan, Mr. Krishnan. Thanks, Neeraj, Parshni. Thanks, Dr. No, this is Vishwanathan again. Thanks, Manjuna, for attending from Oman. Thanks, Mukesh Jain. Yes, so you guys were brilliant. As you all can see, 80% has voted wow and excellent. 70%, yeah, we're inching. 80%. Brilliant. Cool. Thank you. Thanks a ton.
Thanks,
Wishing you
everyone.
all a very, very happy evening and good time with family. Thanks for sparing your time.
Thank you,
Really,
everybody.
really huge thank you for
Bye.
sharing your personal views and making this so interesting. Thank you.
Thanks, Chintan,
Bye-bye.
for having us here.
Bye.
And
Thanks
stay
for
safe,
coming.
everybody.
Bye,
Take care.
Krupal.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Rupal. Thanks, Vishwas. Thanks, Jesh. Thank you very
Bye.
much.
Bye, Chitra.
Bye. Bye. Thanks, Lena.